Do you trust yourself? This is a very important question to be open, be honest with yourself, but it simplifies so much, and it's, do you trust yourself? Because coming with trust, right, this is where you're going to have more confidence. This is where we're going to be really able to feel, a sense of encouragement, but also inspiration, maybe even motivation to step outside of your comfort zone. Because think about it, you trust yourself, And I know a lot of guys out there, they struggle with trust. They might trust their spouse, they might trust their kids, they might trust their coworkers or maybe their pastors, right? But like actually trusting themselves, they struggle with this. And I think it just goes hand in hand where, if let's just say putting yourself out there, you trust somebody and you tell them that, hey, I want you to do this, or I would really appreciate it if you did this, and you put your trust in them, and they happen to not do it. They happen to not fulfill that order and, actually fulfill that promise that you put your trust in them, you can lose that trust in them, and obviously that puts a little bad taste in your mouth where, next time you might be a little bit resilient, right? Where you don't go ask them for that favor because they already, kind of lost your trust. A lot of guys out there, they've lost their trust within themselves. And there's so much importance to having trust within yourself because once again, it's going to help you be more confident. It's going to help you be more, motivated, inspired to step outside your comfort zone, pursue your goals, right? And really go after those things in life that you want to accomplish. But it starts with you trusting yourself. Well, in today's episode, I want to break down 3 specific things that you can start doing today to help you build back up that trust within yourself. And these 3 things, they're actually pretty easy to do. Like, it's not hard by any means, but it's about putting in the reps. It's about showing up each and every single day. There's a lot of guys out there that, talk the talk, and then there's several guys out there that walk the walk. Remember, talking, right, doesn't change your body, right? It doesn't do anything at all. It's just spitting a whole bunch of game out there, right? It's like the guys that, they're telling us about, oh, back in the day when I played high school football or college football, back in the glory days, and they're reminiscing over the good times, but physically, right, they're not actually doing anything about themselves now, right? They can, brag and boast about how they had 6-pack abs and a chiseled chest 20 plus years ago, but like, dude, 20 plus years ago, come on, man. Like, what's going on right now? Why don't, instead of us talking about the glory days, we actually start fulfilling that today by walking the walk and not talking the talk? And walking the walk is going to help you build more trust within yourself. And these 3 key tips I'm going to go over here in a little bit, it's really going to help you guys out. But I actually heard this, and I really like it when it comes to building trust. And I think it makes a lot of sense, okay? And they said that trust is kind of like a bucket of water, where at any seconds, that bucket could tip over. Meaning like, hey, you can put your trust into somebody else. You can put your trust into yourself, right? But at the same time, it's very easy to lose trust. It's very easy to lose trust in others. It's very easy to lose trust in yourself. Hence, once again, as I mentioned about, breaking promises. But in order to actually fill that bucket of trust, it can only be filled drop by drop, meaning it takes a long time, So don't get discouraged when you hear that of like, oh man, I could easily lose trust like that, and it takes so long to build it. Trust me, right? Trust me. Putting in those drops, right, into that bucket and building upon your nest egg of trust, it's well worth it, right? Just like anything in life worth accomplishing, anything in life worth having, right, that requires discipline, that requires sacrifice, is well worth it at the end of the day, okay? Now, with that being said, let's talk a little bit more of the importance of trust. And, if you think about it like this, it's really a stem of confidence, right? And I'm not talking about trusting somebody else. We already talked about that. I mean about yourself now. How many of you guys can actually look yourself in the mirror and actually trust yourself, right? Meaning that like when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're looking at yourself dead in the eyes because you're comfortable with the man in the mirror. Right? You feel proud of the person that you see staring back at you. You're confident in your decisions. There's not second guessing anything or, anything like that. Hey, we're willing and ready to take action ASAP at a drop of a penny, right? We're ready to move. But in order to do so, once again, we need to have trust. We need to, embrace that upon ourselves. So here are 3 things that you guys can actually start doing today to help you build more trust. And this all boils down with what I like to say is integrity. That's how you actually build upon trust, right, is practicing integrity. And everybody has a different definition of integrity, but here's mine that really resonates with me that I enjoy the most whenever I hear this. And that is doing the right things even when no one else is watching. And I guess if we want to add something in on top of that, we can even say like doing the right things even when it gets challenging, even when it gets hard. Because I know a lot of guys out there, they throw in the towel way too soon, right? There's an amazing book by Napoleon Hill called 3 Feet from Gold. And pretty much the story of these gold miners going out there, they're digging out in California, trying to find the gold mine, and one miner stops 3 feet from the gold. Somebody else comes in, they keep on, digging, and sure enough, they find that gold. I don't want you guys to stop 3 feet from gold. I want you guys to have the success. I want you guys to easily and effortlessly reach your goals. But in doing so, you need to understand, right? At times, it's going to be challenging. At times, life is going to test you. And it's like one of these things where mentally you have to take it for how it is. Meaning that during these challenging events and adversity, this is when 99% of people, they fall off track. They throw in the towel, they quit. And once again, I don't want you to be that person. So in order to embrace more integrity, which is going to help you have more trust within yourself, which is going to essentially help you stay more disciplined, you want to make sure that you're following these 3 things below. And the reason why I mentioned just these 3 things is because it's not going to only help you when it comes to having more trust within yourself, but obviously there's going to be a lot more benefits, and you guys are going to learn more about that here next. The first thing, start to track and monitor your progress with your workouts. Plain and simple. Okay. And the reason why, obviously, we're talking about you devoting to more of a, health and fitness standpoint to building more trust is because it's hard, right? It's hard staying disciplined working out, especially, let's say, a cold day outside, right? Maybe there's, winter months, snow on the ground, you got snow all over your car, right? It's hard to stay disciplined to wake up, start your car early, right? Brush the snow off the car. And obviously you guys know I'm speaking like firsthand because I live in Cleveland, Ohio, right? It's not the funnest. But guess what? Like staying disciplined to your workouts and most importantly, tracking that. And so what does that actually mean, right? I like to say tracking your terms of progression. So, hey, if let's just say we're working out 3, 4, maybe 5 times a week, whether we're going to the gym or whether we're working out right at home, we want to make sure that we're staying on point. We're meaning like if let's say the last 3 months, we should be able to look back and see, okay, how consistent were we with actually showing up and putting in the reps and going to the gym, And if you want some extra credit points, track actually your exercises because now you can actually see like, how am I getting stronger? Because there's going to be several times where, once again, life's going to throw you some curveballs. So you might be tracking your progress with your workouts, but if let's just say you hit this stumbling block where you're not seeing any more progress, well, sure enough, to help you is by just tracking your reps, tracking your exercises, tracking how much weight that you're actually using. So if let's say you stop seeing progression, you can look back and see all your data and say, okay, hey, why am I not seeing any more progression? Oh, well, I'm not lifting any heavier. Oh, I'm only sticking with the same exercises. I'm not switching up, the workout exercises. I'm not switching up my workout split. I'm not switching up my routine. Oh, I'm sticking with the same reps time and time again. Well, guys, you already know. I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but Albert Einstein said it best. The definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. So it's like, yeah, I want you to show up and be consistent, but at the same time, I want you constantly progressing yourself. So how do we build more trust within ourselves? Start working out and stick with the plan, plain and simple. Now, the working out aspect, that's only about, 20, maybe if that, right? 20% of the results that you're actually going to see because you can't out-train a bad diet. Now at Heartletics, we don't even use the word diet, right? We help and we coach and we educate our members to learn how to properly eat for their body type, their goals, and most importantly, their lifestyle. So that way they can easily and effortlessly fit in their favorite foods and still lose more body fat. It's not that hard. In fact, if you guys want a great resource in terms of how to do that, you guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, click on the first link in the description box down below. We have a completely free fat loss guide that you can go ahead and download and check it out and start implementing those tips right there. Now, for this simple fact of building more trust, right? And how can we do that with tracking our progress? Okay. We can also make sure we're tracking our nutrition. which is very important. Remember, number one, you want to track your workouts. But number two, you want to track your nutrition because it's way harder to stay more disciplined to a diet, to a nutrition plan than it is training, right? Going to the gym or, going to decide to go for a quick run or get some steps in. That's pretty fun to do, right? Let's face it, right? Like that is easy to do. But actually sticking with hitting your macros, being disciplined, right? Sticking within your calorie range, at times that could be tough. It definitely is for me. I mean, I'm Italian, so I love food, plain and simple. And it's just like how I grew up was with that, good foods versus bad foods mentality, which is not a good thing by any means because I grew up with a binge eating disorder, right? I would sneak the sweets and, binge eat here and it wasn't fun. And it wasn't until I got certified in personal training, nutrition, the whole 9 yards, where I actually learned how to establish a better relationship with food. And now I'm blessed and grateful I get to teach it to, hundreds of our coaching members at Heartletics. So I want you guys to understand that, me, right, sharing this information with you guys, I'm not just talking to you guys, but I'm actually walking the walk, plain and simple, because there's plenty of times where I get stressed, I get worried, I get anxiety, I get, all these things that you also struggle with as well. My life isn't perfect by any means. Now, I'm not complaining, but at the same time, it's just like when I'm underneath stress, guess what? Like I want to have the sweets. I want to indulge in foods that I probably shouldn't be having an abundance of. That's just how I am, plain and simple. So tracking your nutrition is so key because at the end of the day, you don't want to be that guy that's constantly working out, but you're never seeing the progression. Remember, the workouts are just about 20%. 80% is the nutrition aspect. And you really got to make sure you dial that in. So tracking your nutrition is so key to, once again, not just seeing better results, but also building more trust within yourself. Because then it's like, okay, hey, we're tracking our macros, we're tracking our calories, we're sticking with everything. But sure enough, hey, when life throws us a curveball, just like how, being more disciplined with showing up to the gym on a cold winter day when you got to brush the snow off your car, that's hard to do at times compared to in the summer where, hey, you're not dealing with all the snow. Well, the nutrition is kind of the same. Hey, you're dealing with a lot of stress. You're dealing with maybe your buddies are constantly telling you to, meet you at the bar after work or it's got, happy hour. And it's like, hey, we want to stay more disciplined. Okay. I'm not saying you need to avoid all that stuff. I'm saying have it in moderation. But in order to have it in moderation, we got to make sure that we're tracking that progress. We got to make sure that we're tracking that nutrition. We got to make sure that we're sticking with everything in order, right, to actually make sure that, hey, we're seeing the results that we want. And once again, like this whole thing about why we're doing this is just building trust within yourself. If you can do simple things like track your workouts and stay disciplined to that, track your nutrition and stay disciplined to that, you're building more confidence within yourself. You're practicing integrity. You're building more trust within yourself, which is going to help you in so many areas of your life. But the reason why I have these two things on here for starters is because you guys can see, right? It's not just about building trust or more confidence within yourself, but these two tips that I just went over, the workouts and the nutrition, what is that essentially going to do? That's going to make you look better. That's going to make you feel better, right? When you start noticing that you're losing more body fat, you're building more muscle, you're looking better in the mirror, right? You're fitting into those old favorite clothes once again. Guess what? That's going to spike those positive endorphins. That's going to help you feel more motivated and encouraged to build more momentum and continue on so that way you can stay on track, And then the last tip that I have for you guys is for your mindset. And that's to establish a morning routine. Now I get it. Some people, right, like they're very limited on time, but even for the simple fact of, let's say somebody only has 5 minutes that they can spare to devote to a morning routine to work on their mindset. Sure enough, within those 5 minutes, you can still practice gratitude. I don't want to point and say, hey, do this, do that. No. Like it's up for you to decide what works best for your schedule. But having a morning routine, there's so many benefits to it. Not just, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, but also physically, because it's a great tool of self-accountability, depending on how your morning routine is. I mean, think about it. If let's say your gym clothes are already out, if let's say we're waking up and we're getting ready to start the Heartletics app and do our morning ab circuit or, a routine like that, whatever the case may be, that's going to help you stay more discipline. That's going to help you stay more on track with your health and fitness goals as well. Now, all those 3 tips I just kind of shared with you, it boils down to really just 2 things at the end of the day. One, showing up. Even when times are hard, as I mentioned before, you need to show up. You need to build that discipline. And the second thing is this, making sure that you have the right people in your corner. This is why I'm a huge fan of accountability. In fact, I always tell all of our members, especially the new members that get signed up for our coaching program, hey, you want to have the best success inside of our coaching program? Be engaged. Be involved, right? Like participate in the community groups, join the live coaching calls. This is a family. This is a brotherhood. This is where people are here to really help you, and stay on track because we get it. It's not all going to be sunshine and roses. No, life's going to test you. Life's going to push you. Life's going to make you want to quit. But this is where, iron sharpens iron. This is where making sure that the right people are there to support you. They can really do the justice of helping you just put one foot in front of the other each and every day. Okay. So the moral of the story is all this is, hey, how do we build more trust, integrity, discipline? And what are some easy tips to help us build more trust within ourselves? And first and foremost, why is that so important? Well, hey, do you want to be more proud of the person that you see staring back in the mirror? Do you want to feel more confident? And obviously, hey, do you want to look better? Do you want to feel better? Do you want to be willing to and able to step outside of your comfort zone and go after your goals, right? Do you want to feel more ambitious? That all boils down to trust. And in building that trust, these 3 tips can really help you out. And I'll recap, plain and simple. 1, track your workouts and stay disciplined. 2, track your nutrition, hit your macros and stay consistent. And 3, have a morning routine that works for you. Now, you can have a morning routine with gratitude, with journaling, with scripting, with affirmations, with meditation, with visualization. There's so many different things, Find one that resonates with you. Find one that helps you stay in alignment with your goals. Find one that also helps you set up for success for that day. That could also help you, once again, just give you a sense of encouragement. Give you a sense of inspiration to just put one foot in front of the other. So hopefully you guys got some value and most importantly, just some motivation today to really just get back on board with who you are. Who you are as an individual, to building trust within yourself, to building more discipline within yourself, and really just staying, on track with everything. And here's the reason why it's so important is because these 3 tips that I just shared with you, by all means, they're not hard. Anybody can do them. But this is the reason why it's so important. You are filling up your cup with these 3 tips. When you're moving your body, when you're eating properly and refueling your body properly, right? Focus on the recovery, the nutrition. And obviously you're working on your mindset. You're working on a simple morning routine that easily fits in, with your lifestyle, with your busy schedule. Guess what? You are filling up your cup. And, as a man, I firmly believe this. I cannot pour into somebody else if there's nothing for me to actually pour out to. If I'm not filling up my cup, if I'm not investing in myself, how can I expect to fill up somebody else's cup? Once again, talking the talk versus walking the walk. There's a big difference here. This is why when you look outside and you see everybody out there, right? Over 50% of the population is considered overweight or obese, right? Over 45%, struggle with high blood pressure. And it's simply because I think in general, we're doing way too much talking and not enough walking. And in order to build more trust within ourselves, in order to have more discipline, guess what? Anybody can apply these 3 tips right here. So I would love to know your feedback. For starters, what kind of, I guess, trust do you have within yourself? Are you ready and able to go after your goals? Do you feel more confident, or is this a work in progress? Is this something that you really need to get back to your roots and just be open and honest with yourself and just say, hey, listen, this kid's got a point. I got to start moving my body more, or I got to start eating healthier, or hey, I really got to start working on my mindset because maybe I'm just too negative, or maybe I'm sucked into all the negativity on social media and the news these days where it's like, hey, I really got to get back to who I am, right? So that way I can fill up my cup and pour more back in maybe to my family, maybe into my communities, and really start to just be more of a servant's heart and give back to others and be that lighthouse, be that inspiration. So I would love to know your feedback in the comment section below. And also, if you haven't enjoyed today's episode, definitely give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not yet already. And lastly, guys, once again, I have a completely free fat loss training guide that if you want access to, if you're watching this on YouTube, it is the first link in the description box down below. I really hope you guys got some inspiration from today. As always, this has been Coach Joe with Heartletics.com, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Peace out, Girl Scouts.